The hiss of the espresso machine mingles with the rich aroma filling the air. The staff proudly serves the first cup, but the customer's hesitant expression brings a subtle pause to the cozy atmosphere. Jolted by a sudden realization, the staff rushes to hang the forgotten open sign. As the doors swing wide, dancing cherry blossoms flood the view, announcing the grand opening of Cafe Youth Blossom alongside the vibrant spring. Meanwhile, on the morning streets, petals fall like snow. Choi Jin-young walks alone, headphones blocking out the noise, his eyes holding a quiet solitude that betrays his youth. Just as he loses himself in the world of music, a hand suddenly grabs his backpack from behind. Jin-young freezes, his calm heartbeat skipping a beat in an instant. He frantically pulls off his headphones, turning to find Yoon Bomi panting heavily. Her flushed cheeks and radiant smile instantly dispel the chill around him. Straightening up, Bomi greets her new university life with ease. Pointing at a non-existent caterpillar on Jin-young's hair, she uses an inside joke to mask her shyness while introducing her boyfriend to the world. Moments earlier, Jin-young had gently removed something from her hair. Though he simply said, "Thanks," the subtle fondness in his eyes betrayed the sweetness of their relationship. This bond traces back to that long high school summer. Even with their university buildings miles apart, Jin-young still goes out of his way to be by her side, just like before, silently guarding their love. But on this crowded campus, eyes are everywhere. Acutely aware of the stares, Jin-young raises his defenses to protect their secret romance, even plotting to use his friend Lee Jae-min as a shield. Reality throws a bucket of cold water on their romance. Their schedules don't overlap at all. Looking at the mismatched timetables, Bomi hangs her head, her every breath heavy with the disappointment of their separation. Speak of the devil, Lee Jae-min suddenly appears, interrupting the couple. Bomi instantly switches to just friends mode to explain the chance meeting, while Jaemin beams with his signature sunny smile, completely oblivious. Though Jin-young complains about Jaemin's noise, their bond runs deep. The way Bomi playfully steps on Jaemin's foot is an intimate joke that belongs only to them, requiring no words. On this vast campus, Bomi feels completely at ease whenever the three are together. Looking at these two vastly different yet equally important boys, warmth swells in her heart. This is their spring, too. A breeze scatters petals onto Jaemin's glasses, erupting laughter from his friends. Jaemin adjusts his frames awkwardly, internally cursing the accessory that blocks his view and makes him a laughingstock. If you can't see, take them off. Bomi teases, snatching his glasses. The seal is broken. Jaemin's striking eyes are revealed, and even Jin-young can't help but curse his friend's overflowing charisma. This scene lands squarely in the sights of a distant observer. While Jaemin complains about annoying couples, he's unaware that he has just become the center of a gossip storm. In a campus corner, gossip queen Kim Myeong excitedly swaps intel with a friend. Admiration for the freshman goddess Yoon Bomi has escalated into a frantic investigation of her love life. Myeong even reveals she's the mystery poster who confirmed Bomi has a boyfriend on the forum. Recalling the sweet moment she witnessed, she clenches her hands, eyes burning with the thrill of holding an exclusive secret. It's the guy standing next to her right now. Myeong points confidently. In her view, the tall, handsome Jaemin chats happily with Bomi, while Jin-young, the one who truly holds Bomi's heart, is rendered invisible by this massive misunderstanding. Gossip spreads like a virus, and everyone accepts the narrative. The handsome PE major and the beautiful IR student. This absurd misunderstanding is about to spiral into an uncontrollable farce, fueled by everyone's certainty. By the bright window, Oh Purium stands alone. Even from behind, she draws whispers. She's cute. Is that Oh Purium? Curious gazes fix on her like a spotlight. Once a child prodigy, now trailed by rumors of a prickly personality. Memories flood back. A greeting a few days ago seems to mark the start of a delicate entanglement. Purium clenches her jaw, vowing revenge for yesterday's slight. To onlookers, she's deep in a power struggle with Yoon Bomi, the air thick with jealousy and rivalry. The tension dissolves into daily campus life. Gossip about the prodigy fades into class bells and club invites. Youthful restlessness pulsing through the hallways. In the spring classroom, a figure breaks the monotony. Lee Jae-min arrives late, but radiant. His energetic here comes with a dazzling smile that's impossible to resist. Purium gathers her courage and calls out a hopeful hello, only to be met with cold air. He doesn't notice at all. The sting of being ignored pierces her pride instantly. That blonde boy always wears an inscrutable smile. Students speculate, is he really Yoon Bomi's boyfriend? A halo of mystery makes him the center of every conversation. Another azure spring day. Purium, with her superior aesthetic sense, is lost in colors. Suddenly, a pleasant scent wafts by. Someone has intruded upon her artistic world. She walks with feigned arrogance, fighting an internal battle. Her mother's plea to make friends echoes. Beneath the confidence lies a heart longing for connection, yet hesitant to reach out. The moment she opens the door, whispers crash over her like a wave. Is that Purium? She feels hollow under the scrutiny, but this time, she is a target to approach. A rustle of movement, and he turns around. It's Lee Jae-min, smiling gently, saying hi there. In that moment, the ice in Purium's heart cracks. She decides he is the one. During a boring color theory class, even his unguarded young looks vivid to her. Purium watches silently from the shadows, her cheeks involuntarily flushing pink. Her thoughts drift back to the beginning. That crowded freshman orientation. It seems the gears of fate began to turn quietly then, weaving their paths together. Meanwhile, the student council party is deafening. Choi Jin-young awkwardly clutches a cola. In this world of drunken revelry, he stands out, looking incredibly lonely. Just cola. The mockery is relentless. When the topic shifts to his girlfriend Bomi, Jin-young's brow furrows, his suppressed irritation ready to snap in the noisy air. Seniors ruthlessly tease the girls from international relations. Jin-young grips his cup tight. Though resisting internally, he must endure this social pressure to protect his secret. Elsewhere, Bomi is drowning in alcohol. Chance of drink. Drink, crash over her like a tsunami. She forces a smile and gulps it down, her eyes betraying a panic for help. Jin-young finally collapses. The seniors, panicked thinking he's blacked out, frantically call Bomi. A perfect feint, executed solely to escape this suffocating drinking party. Once out of sight, Jin-young instantly straightens up, eyes clear. You were faking it. His friend is dumbfounded. The twist is both absurd and incredibly satisfying. Under the cover of night, Bomi presses a finger to her lips, heart pounding. Cornered, she stammers out an excuse, desperate to shield the trembling Purium behind her. Rumors about Purium circulate in the clubroom. Jin-young warns his girlfriend about the dangerous girl while gaming, only to be thrown off guard by Bomi's playful distraction. Frustrated by her loss, Bomi pouts, but Jin-young leans in, melting her annoyance with a gentle kiss. In the sweet aftermath, the topic drifts back to that intriguing girl. The bell rings, stirring hidden tensions. Jaemin slings his bag, his magnetic greeting sending Purium into a panic, leaving her flustered amidst the classroom chaos. Knuckles rap on the desk, shattering the calm. Jaemin leans in with his signature smile to introduce himself, leaving Purium frozen, her cheeks burning with sudden shock. Jaemin's move instantly triggers the gossip radar. Watching from the corner, a blonde boy smirks with amusement, though a pang of inexplicable jealousy tightens his chest. Memory fragments flash back to a night only he remembers. In the hazy light, two hearts were dangerously close, leaving behind a ghost of unresolved emotion. The spring chapter pauses here, capturing the colors of youth in a pink notebook. Behind the scenes, laughter and clashes become the vivid footnotes of this season. Scene shifts to Cafe Youth Blossom. The atmosphere mirrors the quirky drinks served, absurdly funny, yet bubbling with sweet, vibrant anticipation. Facing skepticism about the drinks, the owner sighs but firmly defends her clumsy, red-headed employee, her words laced with protective warmth. The guinea pig offers a backhanded compliment, leaving C&E frustrated. Just then, the door chime rings clearly, heralding the arrival of a girl with a radiant smile. Quiet study time is shattered as Jiri bursts onto the scene. She loudly greets the stunned, repeat student, instantly igniting the dull atmosphere with her energy. In the hallway, Jiri catches the upperclassman leaving. Though just asking for forgotten notes, her confident introduction leaves a distinct mark on him. Thoughts drift back to the turbulent high school years, from isolation to frantic studying. Those nights of gritty perseverance finally earned her a ticket to college. Reinventing herself, Jiri generously shares precious notes. While acting casual, the shrewd little devil inside her quietly calculates the value of this favor. Basking in the gossip about her kindness, Jiri's vanity is thoroughly stroked. She relishes the praise, acting as if the shadows of her past have completely vanished. Back in the cafe, her triumph crumbles. Faced with the teacher's sudden concern, Jiri's mind rare short circuits, leaving her paralyzed with awkwardness. Meanwhile, Seon-hee stares into space. Who would guess this disheveled girl was once the high school queen bee, perfectly made up and entangled in a passionate romance? Exam failure once crushed her into self-loathing. It wasn't until the pitying manager offered a job that she was forcibly dragged out of her swamp of despair. The cafe livens up again. Accused by the glasses guy, Jiri bristles like a stepped-on cat, furiously denying his teasing to hide her true reasons for visiting. Bomi teases Jin Young about his glasses, keeping things light, but whispers spread in the shadows. Is love making Bomi dumb? Meanwhile, the old trio faces an inevitable drift. One to France, one left lonely in the countryside, leaving only memories behind. As the group orders coffee, the conversation naturally shifts to the missing member. Hearing that Jaemin skipped for soccer, disappointment washes over the girls' faces, leaving a lingering sense of regret. Looking at old photos, they lament how busy lives have drifted them apart. Suddenly, an intimate photo of Jaehyun sparks gossip, shifting the focus sharply. What exactly happened between Jaemin and that girl? The atmosphere turns subtle, heavy with unspoken knowledge. Finally, someone breaks the silence, asking the elephant in the room, what exactly is going on between Jaemin and your sister, Eunchae? A book arcs through the noisy hallway, and Eunchae clumsily catches it. Faced with Jaemin's concerned question and bright smile, her heart skips a beat as she hastily averts her gaze, hiding her fluster. While scolding him, Yunchi's mind is violently dragged back to the shadows by that same name, Shin Jaemin. Just as painful memories surface, a shout from behind breaks the trance, making Lee Jaemin turn in confusion. Jaemin instinctively rejects the invitation to the group date, but his friends are relentless. When they hit a nerve about a recent breakup, he awkwardly scratches his head, denying it with eyes full of helplessness. His friend pleads, even bribing him with lunch, sparking a tug-of-war on the street. But the scene cuts to laughter spilling from a cafe days later. It seems he eventually gave in. Regret fills the awkward air as Jaemin questions his presence. Opposite him, Purium sits on pins and needles. Meeting a familiar face here, she feels the weight of intense stares, her heart racing. Purium stares intently at moving lips, trying to decipher the silent words. Cheating jerk? Terrible possibilities flood her mind, sending her into a spiral of confusion that freezes her in place. The story pauses briefly here, as the team behind the scenes awaits the reader's support before the drama continues. Glasses clink at the freshman party amidst chants to drink. Dizzy and cornered, Purium can't refuse the one last drink and forces herself to lift the glass under the pressure of raucous laughter. Nausea rises as Purium looks around, realizing in panic that her peers have vanished, leaving her with the seniors. Before she can react, her glass is swapped, and the situation spirals out of control. To her surprise, the senior downs the drink in one gulp. Purium freezes, staring at the empty glass, letting out a sigh that mixes helplessness with confusion. Purium's cheeks burn as she plays out a romantic fantasy of a life with Yunbomi. The dismissal bell snaps her back to reality. Though she must keep waiting, the spark of hope in her eyes never fades. The cold text message firing her hits like a blow, shattering her excuse for avoiding social life. In despair, she suddenly looks up, eyes burning with desperate determination. If work is gone, she'll go find Bomi. While classmates excitedly plan drinks, Purium tries to make excuses, only to hear gossip about Bomi's romance. The word boyfriend strikes her like lightning, freezing her awkward smile as her heart quietly shatters. Accustomed to being invisible, Purium prepares to slip away, but the shining figure suddenly greets her. Even a simple hi sends tremors through her body, disbelieving that this is real. Nearby, a friend screams in frustration over a cancellation, desperate for a replacement. This sudden plea lands on Purium. Her pupils dilate in shock as one word echoes endlessly in her mind. Date? Before she can recover from the shock, she catches key phrases. Same class, color theory. Purium's heart leaps into her throat. Could it be that Bomi's boyfriend is right here? Friend's sudden questions catch Bomi off guard, backing her into a corner as the rumor about her boyfriend from the education department becomes impossible to dodge. Memories flood back. It was a huge, drunken lie to cover her true love, and now, facing Jaemin's teasing gaze, she has to swallow the bitter pill of awkwardness. Meanwhile, Jin Young, the real boyfriend, is forced to sit on the steps at the group date, wearing a face of utter resignation amidst this absurd social gathering. But to Purium, the scene reeks of betrayal. Watching the boys joke about flirting, her eyes fill with disdain as alarm bells ring in her mind. Piecing together the clues, her shock settles into a firm conclusion. The man before her is nothing but a total flirt. Jaemin smugly thinks he has the upper hand, unaware that in Purium's eyes, he's already labeled a scumbag, creating a tense standoff built on misunderstandings. Unable to stand the hypocrisy any longer, Purium flees, her heart a tangled, suffocating mess of pity for Bomi and disgust for Jaemin. Elsewhere, the sabotage squad is plotting. Watching the immature boy's excitement, her shock turns to scorn. She just wants to distance herself from these idiots. The prank call connects, filling the air with mischievous anticipation and unease. No one knows what storm will brew once he picks up. In the hallway, Jaemin vents his impatience at his friends over the phone. Purium overhears his bone-chilling tone, convinced she is listening to a monster. The moment Jaemin hangs up and turns around, a familiar figure freezes all his emotions in place. It's Bomi, her eyes filled with grievance. Seeing Jaemin's complex expression over the phone, Purium mistakes it for guilt towards the abused girl, but it only fuels her raging anger. Jerk! She curses silently, unable to comprehend why Bomi would suffer in a relationship for a man who has nothing but looks. Anger finally breaks the dam of reason. Purium blocks his path and spits out the suppressed curse at the innocent-looking boy. You trashy bastard. Jaemin freezes, then awkwardly scratches his head, assuming she meant his harsh call with his friends, cluelessly admitting to being a bit too rough. He casually explains it's just a rough dynamic. But to Purium, it sounds like an admission of an abusive relationship, shattering her worldview instantly. When asked if he got his girlfriend's permission, Jaemin's blank, "Do I have to?" completely ignites the powder keg of Purium's righteousness, leaving her in utter shock. Trash! Echoes deafeningly in the air as they fall into dead silence, with only the sizzling bacon on the grill mocking this absurd misunderstanding. Jin Young dodges Bomi's interrogation with a mouthful of barbecue. He'd rather savor the meat than dig up the heavy past, using the sizzling food to mask the awkward topic. The truth is brutally simple. He just wanted an excuse to leave. Jin Young rolls his eyes. Their sentimental meddling is nothing but a burden to him. He waves off Bomi's help, claiming it's fine. But deep down, a strange, unfamiliar restlessness begins to crack his composed facade. A few days later, while the sun shines, Jaemin lies sprawled on the sofa like a lifeless ragdoll. His heavy sighs pollute the air, sparking whispers among the staff about their star's odd mood. Seeing he snaps, unable to stand his gloomy aura polluting her cafe. Jaemin fires back, annoyed but secretly impressed by her sharp intuition. Seeing claims she's never felt disliked, radiating blinding confidence. It's annoying, yet her words unlock the source of Jaemin's own frustration. A jolt of realization. It's the feeling of being invisible. Memories flood back, Purium dodging him in the hallway, a thorn pricking his pride. It's not just avoidance. She looks at him like he's filth. Jaemin grips his cup, the humiliation of being treated like a pest burning him for the first time. The more he thinks, the more the irritation boils over, especially remembering that specific day. Her panicked, rejecting face leaves him utterly baffled by her hostility. Back in the library, Purium's scrolling is interrupted by a familiar voice. She spins around, locking eyes with a surprised Bomi, completely caught off guard. Bomi spots the job search site before Purium can hide it. Flustered, Purium tries to deflect but crumbles under Bomi's warm, inquisitive gaze. Bomi extends a lifeline. Her cafe is hiring. Purium wavers, but the desperate need to clear the air outweighs her fear. She's going in. Fate loves a cruel joke. Just as Purium arrives, the staff rushes out for an emergency, leaving a couple alone inside and setting the stage for disaster. Standing before the pink door, Purium takes a deep breath to steady her racing heart. She pushes it open, ready to be professional, unaware of the chaos waiting inside. The word interview dies in her throat. Before her eyes, an intimate embrace. Purium's brain short-circuits. Has she just walked in on a scandalous secret? In that split second, her world tilts. A million absurd theories explode in her mind. Is Bomi actually? She begins to question reality itself. Let's rewind a second. The moment that blossom door creaked open, a hopeful interview turned into the entrance to a nightmare, her heartbeat deafening. Smudged lipstick, bodies pressed tight, a man's shocked shout. The visual impact is too raw. Blood rushes to Purium's head as she witnesses a forbidden world. An affair. The thought strikes like lightning. Terrified, Purium babbles a nonsensical apology and spins around, desperate to flee the scene of the crime. Blinded by panic, she lunges for the exit, only to slam hard into a solid chest instead of fresh air. Fate's cruel prank has only just begun. The real boyfriend is here. Facing Jinyoung's shock question, Bomi laments the absurd timing. Memories of countless past exposures flood back, just as that familiar red-haired figure pops out, announcing the nightmare has returned. Purium loudly accuses them of sneaking around, oblivious to the freezing atmosphere. Flushed crimson, Bomi desperately wishes to disappear, weakly explaining that this is just a junior from her department. Watching Purium blush furiously, Jinyoung wipes off a lipstick mark while snarkily commenting on his girlfriend's obliviousness. Bomi watches, a sudden realization dawning on her about the absurd trash boyfriend misunderstanding. Flashing back to the convenience store, the ambiguous proximity instantly tightens the air. Jinyoung frowns, warning them to behave, and his comment about doing that here makes Purium die of embarrassment. Back at the cafe, Purium's declaration of, "I'm here for an interview," strikes like lightning, leaving Jinyoung dumbfounded. To see his girlfriend often, he bites the bullet and decides to become a regular. Purium tries to untangle the relationships, pointing fingers but only creating chaos. As she confidently identifies the messy love polygons, the air fills with dead silence and shocked stares. Bomi can't help but laugh at the absurd rumors, while Jinyoung looks utterly disgusted. Finally, Bomi clarifies that she and Jinyoung are the real couple, a simple truth that somehow makes the atmosphere even more awkward. Realizing she once called him trash to his face, a chill runs down Purium's spine. Although Jinyoung says it's resolved, his unsmiling eyes radiate a terrifying pressure. Bomi finally connects the dots, realizing what those previous words meant. Watching Purium fiddle with her drink, a gentle smile touches her eyes, seemingly seeing through the girl's hidden thoughts. Bomi had sincerely advised her to leave that man, words that now carry a different weight. Looking at Bomi's cloudless smile, Purium feels an invisible terror emanating from the real girlfriend. Just as Bomi bluntly roasts Purium's zero social skills, the door chimes. Purium turns instinctively, her pupils constricting as a familiar figure freezes her in place. An observing senior gives a thumbs up, announcing she passes. The scene shifts, apron strings tighten, and with the roar of the coffee machine, Purium officially steps into this unpredictable part-time life. The conversation returns to that absurd deduction, leaving the red-haired barista, C&He, in disbelief. Poked at a sore spot, Purium's eyes dart around, stammering to cover up her ridiculous logic. An image of the perfect couple surfaces in her mind, leaving Purium with mixed feelings. She admits that subconsciously, she almost wished the misunderstanding were true, a thought that brings a bitter taste. Her mental defenses completely collapse, shame making her want to evaporate. Meanwhile, following the group, the scene finally arrives at the legendary Seasons of Blossom Cafe. Pushing open the door, the aroma of coffee greets them. Purium keenly catches the panic of the red-haired figure behind the counter, a doubt rising in her heart. Has the staff here changed? Standing outside, Jaemin pauses, hand rubbing his neck, ears tinged red. Despite the hesitation filling his heart, he takes a deep breath and softly suggests, "So, shall we go in?" As the chapter concludes, a playful activity page briefly eases the emotional tension. The production team's chat logs add a touch of behind-the-scenes warmth to the story. A new morning breaks with campus bustle, footsteps hurried and cheerful. Eunchae bursts into the scene with her signature energetic smile, and the gears of youth continue to turn amidst laughter. Laughter fills the locker room as Dayan and Eunchae chat about shirts, until a clumsy figure bursts in. Shin Jaemin has walked into the wrong classroom again. Meanwhile, in the hallway, the topic shifts to family. Jaemin and Eunchae are surprised to realize their mothers know each other, awakening childhood memories of the Taekwondo dojo. The joking stops abruptly, and Jaemin's eyes turn cold. He grips Yinchi's wrist tight, his voice unusually serious. Because of that girl, Jaehyun Hyung has changed. The cafe bell rings, and the name slips silently from both their lips. Jaehyun stands at the counter, his cold stare masking the sudden, suffocating awkwardness. Jaehyun stands stiffly, maintaining a facade of cold calm, while internally he is screaming on the edge of a breakdown. Damn it, why here of all places? Seeing he frantically checks her reflection, oily hair, bare face, saggy t-shirt. The fantasy of perfection shatters instantly, and shame floods her mind as she lets out a desperate internal scream. To hide his panic, Jaehyun introduces her as just a club friend. The words sting like a needle, and He turns away in silence, letting the feeling of rejection swallow her whole. Humiliation instantly turns to rage. He grits her teeth and takes over the order. If you're gonna look down on her, she'll send him packing with a coffee brewed with pure spite. Jaehyun has just sat down, trying to explain himself, when a violent noise from the bar makes him whip his head around in shock. Chaos erupts in the distance. Though it looks like playful roughhousing, Jaehyun watches with arms crossed and brows furrowed, unable to hide the complex worry in his eyes. Meanwhile, faced with Jaehyun's question, Sari's heart races uncontrollably. The thundering of her own heartbeat drowns out whatever he is saying. Just as she is about to speak, their late friends burst in noisily. The moment is ruthlessly interrupted. Jaehyun sighs in frustration as the romantic tension vanishes instantly. Despite the interruption, Sari blushes looking at her phone. Seeing her crush doing so well sends a bittersweet ripple of happiness through her heart. Yet beneath the laughter, undercurrents swirl. The memory of a screaming breakup flashes violently in their minds. The pain of that rainy night clashes with their reunion, stinging everyone present. In the corner, Purium is sneaking a peek at the drama, but gets caught red-handed. Embarrassed by the no-friends jibe, she blushes and tries to play it cool. Seeing he thought her messy appearance would kill his feelings for good. But fate plays a cruel joke. The very next day, that familiar figure smiles and pushes open the door again. Not just the next day, but every single day after. Watching her ex haunt her workplace, Seeing shifts from confusion to deep exhaustion and agitation. Meanwhile, at another table, Purium finally gathers her courage. Lowering her voice, she brings up the freshman orientation, her eyes holding both shyness and a hidden resolve. Facing Jaemin's persistence, she stops running and tremblingly voices the misunderstanding that has stood between them. That day, I saw you hugging Yoonbomi. Just at this tense moment, the scene shifts. Jin Young, lost in his music, is suddenly smacked from behind, causing him to rip off his headphones in pure shock. Gentle night air, sweet melodies flowing through earphones, and a smile Jin Young simply can't hide. Pizza in hand, they ring the cafe doorbell, completely unaware they are stepping into the eye of a storm. Bomi opens the door beaming, but her smile freezes instantly. Chaos reigns, and Seon-hee is retching on the floor. Rewind a few minutes. A handbag slams onto the sofa, signaling an imminent explosion of long-suppressed rage. Seon-hee snaps, her scream and a sharp slap echoing through the cafe, leaving everyone stunned by her sudden fury. Amidst the smoke, she turns away, shoulders trembling violently, fists clenched tight to hold back a total breakdown. Memories flood back. To get closer to Jaemin, she foolishly joined every club, from magic to rap battles. She endured the ridicule and stares with a smile, but his sudden departure without a word shattered her heart. Her efforts turned into a joke, surrounding her with loneliness and shame as she cried herself to sleep countless nights. Just being near him was enough, until her secret was exposed, instantly freezing the air with awkward tension. Hearing Jaehyun's apology and his clueless admission, Seon-hee's defenses crumble, letting the tears finally fall. Back in reality, though alcohol blurs her vision, she desperately hides her face, unwilling to let him see her in this wretched state. Delirious, she grabs the cup on the table, oblivious to its contents, while Jaehyun lunges in horror to stop her. Too late. The vile taste explodes in her mouth, drowning out the shocked gasps of everyone around her. Meanwhile, Purium suddenly feels the world spin, her vision swallowed by eerie rainbow colors as suffocating déjà vu hits. Jaemin's probing gaze seems to pierce through time, forcing her to confront the painful memory she buried deep. Shards of memory pierce her mind like blades, and just as she breaks, a cheerful voice rings out from the door. Pizza drops, cheers turn to screams. Watching Seon-hee retch, Purium's stomach churns as she looks agonizingly at Bomi. All the chaos and nausea erupt into one gut-wrenching scream, her last desperate cry before total collapse. Yoon-bomi. Teaser. Colors dance across the canvas. In this cramped studio, someone finally sees Purium's shining talent. Amidst the chaos of splashed paint, a gentle voice pulls her back to reality, her eyes still hazy from a deep, lingering dream. The night is deep. She clutches her chest as childhood dreams flood back, her heart aching with a mix of nostalgia and dread. Leaning against the wall, he pierces through to the truth of the dream, the sheer powerlessness when facing buried trauma. Her attempt to deflect fails, and suddenly, the specific detail of his hair becomes heart-stoppingly vivid, pulling her back into the memory. Memory overlaps with reality. Her eyes fly open, rainbows dancing in her pupils, reflecting not just shock, but uncontrollable, dizzying attraction. She thought it was a beautiful memory, only to be plunged into an abyss as the recollection twists into something dark and painful. Meanwhile, tears of regret soak the pillow. That humiliating first meeting has become an inescapable nightmare for Bomi. Barely recovering from the shame of the hangover, her world collapses in sheer panic the moment she learns he is right there. Listening to the jarring teasing, the spray bottle crushes in Sunhee's grip, the flames of jealousy inciting murderous thoughts. The door swings open, and as that unexpected blonde figure barges in, all composure dissolves into a panicked scream of chaos. There is no escape. As the bathroom door opens, his playful teasing freezes the air in sheer awkwardness, leaving her paralyzed. Seeing Jaehyun in oversized clothes, Sari blushes. As romantic tension rises, she boldly invites him to continue their private discussion. Memories flood back, words like dirty and disgusting piercing her heart. Humiliating herself in front of her crush is pure torture. Shame breaches the critical point. She clutches her head and wails, face burning red, wishing to vanish while leaving others utterly confused. Faced with such pathetic honesty, some are confused while others silently mock. Yet she stubbornly refuses to be led away. Amidst the chaos, Sari's sudden confession freezes the air once more, leaving the boy in a state of bewildered shock. Tears dry instantly. With the sharp click of a compact, the calculating hunter returns. If innocence fails, she'll just change the script. Since the disguise is blown, she rips off the mask. Her eyes, no longer pitiful, are now filled with defiance as she clashes with Sari. The moment the ID card flashes, everything makes sense. The hysterical drama was just an improv session by the acting genius. Leaving a room full of stunned spectators, she waves a breezy goodbye, leaving behind total chaos and utter confusion. Exhaustion weighs heavy in the deepening night. The room is silent and lazy, eyelids drooping as sleep threatens to take over completely. Suddenly, her eyes snap open. A jolt of terror shatters the sleep, beads of cold sweat forming as even the hamster startles at the sudden disturbance. Sunlight floods the campus filled with hungry complaints. Bomi's sudden call freezes Purium in her tracks, catching her in an awkward attempt to slip away. Purium tries to deflect, panic rising. But Bomi's mention of freshman orientation day shatters her defense, bringing buried memories flooding back. The misunderstanding is laid bare. Bomi looks shocked. Offended? Why? The words Purium took as a declaration of revenge were meant to be something else entirely. Shame explodes within her. Purium covers her face in despair, realizing the hostility after fainting and the intimacy between Bomi and Jaemin were all in her head. Bomi explains with a wry smile that paying her back meant gratitude. Standing on the street, the wind carries the awkwardness as Purium's worldview crumbles. Flashback to the track field, the source of the hug rumor becomes clear. The supposed intimacy witnessed was nothing but a ridiculous misunderstanding caused by camera angles. Back to Jaemin, who covers his face in regret. His teasing went too far. He only meant to be playful, but now she thinks he genuinely hates her. Their night meeting is fraught with panic. Jaemin rushes in, guilt and nervousness intertwining the moment he sees Purium. He must fix this. Sitting side by side against the brick wall, the night air bites. Watching Purium shiver and mumble, Jaemin's awkwardness melts into tender concern. Gazing at her vulnerable sleeping face, a thought slips out. Pretty. He instantly flushes red, shocked by his own heart skipping a beat. To hide his fluttering heart, Jaemin scrambles to get water. He glances back at the huddled figure, romantic tension quietly blooming in the night. Scene shifts to the mix of exhaustion and relief after a workout. Jaemin finishes training, his body tired but his spirit light, as if a burden has been lifted. Before even leaving the gym, Jaemin eagerly starts a video call. On the screen, cute little Salmon blinks her big eyes, instantly healing all fatigue. Usually cool, Jin Young holds Salmon, watching Jaemin make silly faces on screen with a mix of resignation and affection. Their brotherly bond overflows with clumsy warmth. Does Salmon remember Appa? Seeing the child's innocent smile, Jin Young can't help but grin shyly. In this moment, all defenses melt away in her laughter. Plans are made to visit Hyung. After hanging up, Jin Young looks at the cafe sign, his eyes filled with determination and anticipation, cherishing their bond. Back at the cafe, the atmosphere turns subtle. Jaehyun jokingly says, "I want to get back together," but his eyes lock on Seon-hee, testing her boundaries. Seon-hee's heart tightens, her hands freezing. That joke hits like a stone in a lake. Isn't this exact moment what she's secretly been longing for by staying here? The air freezes. Locking eyes with Seon-hee, Jae-hyun finally drops the bombshell. I'm coming here to get you back. Time stands still at the sudden confession. Hiding nearby, Purium holds her breath, watching the tension unfold. Meanwhile, the room is suffocatingly quiet. Only the monotony of typing and running water fills the awkward silence. The tension makes Bomi and Donchai restless. Curiosity winning over manners, they exchange a glance and decide to eavesdrop on the hidden past. Memories flood back. Seon-hee's cold words try to push him away. Jae-hyun hung his head, lying that it didn't matter, while his eyes betrayed his pain. It was a tragic misunderstanding. He thought it was just exam stress and waited for her call. She thought it was truly the end. Regret washes over him like a tide. Jae-hyun screams internally. Why didn't he hold on to her? Why didn't he fight for them even once? Hearing this, the eavesdroppers are stunned. Just as they mourn the missed connection, an unexpected voice questions them from behind. Just as Seon-hee bares her soul, a figure in a hat bursts in screaming, completely shattering the somber atmosphere. It's Purium, waking from a dream. She jolts awake to realize she's the center of attention, burning with shame at being caught eavesdropping. As the intruders leave, Jae-hyun stops holding back. He looks Seon-hee in the eye and exposes the truth behind her running away. Just as emotions are about to explode, Purium rushes back into clean, desperate to break the tension, making the scene comically chaotic. To end the farce, Donchai has to drag the eavesdropper away. Just then, a clueless Jaemin walks in, stunned by the chaos before him. Finally alone, Seon-hee, flustered, tries to tie her hair but can only find a cheap rubber band in her frustration. That will hurt. Jae-hyun gently stops her hand and ties her hair himself. At his touch, Seon-hee's heart skips a beat. His skilled hands and the words, "If only you were honest," fill the air with romance. Even the watching students can't help but swoon. Seon-hee blushes, about to respond, when Purium excitedly shouts, "Done cleaning," oblivious to the romantic mood she just ruined. Since hiding failed, the gossip squad strikes. They surround the couple, demanding the breakup story, sending Seon-hee into a panic. Amidst the chaos, strong arms wrap around from behind. Mistakenly hugged, Purium's eyes widen in terror as she screams internally, F***CK. Another nightmare. Purium wakes up, her mind haunted by embarrassing memories of Jaemin. How on earth can she apologize for the puking incident? She frantically rehearses in her mind, trying to combine puke and trash, but her tongue slips, blurring them into a disastrous fook. The air freezes instantly. Jaemin looks confused, while Purium's face turns beet red. Her brain shuts down, tears welling up as she screams internally. Jaemin tries to break the ice with apology, sagwa, but Purium hears apple juice. Eyes widening, she assumes he broke up over juice, escalating the misunderstanding. Meanwhile, another story unfolds. A relationship ended by exhaustion, where the reason seems as absurdly simple as that apple juice. Flashback to last September, where the anxiety began. Glaring red marks on exams and the cold backs of interviewers declared Seon-hee's academic defeat. The teacher's advice to lower her standards hits like a hammer. Seon-hee lowers her head, fists clenched tight under the desk, frustrated yet powerless. She leans against the window, masking insecurity with scorn, but tears betray her. Just then, a drink appears, Jae-hyun's silent, gentle comfort. On the stairs, Jae-hyun skillfully ties her hair. She leans on his shoulder, the warmth of this habit temporarily shielding her from the biting reality. Jae-hyun calls her pretty, but Seon-hee's hand trembles. She wants to be better for him, but the gap in reality makes the pen in her hand feel unbearably heavy. Pressure explodes on the busy street. She's on the verge of breaking. Suddenly, that familiar figure appears, waving with a smile, pulling her back from the abyss. Jae-hyun strives for a bright future, but his excellence makes Seon-hee feel even smaller. Though their hands clasp, the wall in her heart grows higher. Fear floods in. Her face pales, pupils trembling. What will she do if this fragile balance completely falls apart? Cut to the present street. Lee Seri struts in with confidence. Like observing a subject, she analyzes Jae-hyun's persevering love with fascination. Seri is eccentric and pokes where it hurts. The blue-haired boy beside her facepalms, mortified by her teasing about the ex-girlfriend. Even a collision becomes an acting lesson. She forces the guy to loudly enunciate trash and puke, her bossiness tinged with absurdity. She laughs wildly on the street, ignoring stares. But the scene cuts to the cafe, where the atmosphere plummets. A storm is brewing. Finally, suppressed emotions erupt. Eyes red, Seon-hee screams at Jae-hyun. Your help only makes me feel more pathetic. The melted food on the ground mirrors her heart, a total mess. Deep shame washes over her as her pride shatters into pieces. Just then, a hand appears, tightly gripping that familiar juice box. Sunny's eyes widen in shock. In that instant, something seems to reignite. Jaehyun tries to mask his anxiety with a gentle smile, but his concern only stings Sunhee. Watching her boyfriend, for whom everything seems to go right, she feels a surge of uncontrollable inferiority and jealousy. These thoughts make Sunhee feel pathetic and ugly. She even starts to resent Jaehyun for being so kind despite her mess, her self-loathing spilling over like the melting drink on the ground. Sensing her agony, the light in Jaehyun's eyes dims. To free her from this suffocating relationship, he clenches his jaw and severs their last emotional tie himself. Once the breakup words are spoken, there's no taking them back, leaving Sunhee with endless regret. She planned to call him after college, but the shame of ruining everything out of pride stripped her of all courage. Back in the present, Sunhee's emotional defense looks like a tantrum to others. Jaehyun listens silently with helpless affection, while the ignorant whispers of bystanders pierce through like cold arrows. The harsh judgments leave Sunhee nowhere to hide. She realizes that her past self, who looked down on others' efforts out of insecurity, was indeed disappointingly arrogant, something even she can't forgive. Tears of regret finally burst forth as she curls up on the floor, sobbing uncontrollably. Only now does she understand the heavy weight of the time others accumulated step by step, which she once so foolishly dismissed. Jaehyun holds back his pain, refusing to look just as pathetic. Just as the atmosphere hits rock bottom, Sari gives a thumbs up with headphones on, trying to break the heavy tension in her own comical yet warm way. Squatting outside the cafe, they miss the chance to go in but find a moment to grow closer. Learning that Jaehyun never hated her, Sunhee's anxious heart finally lands safely. Misunderstandings melt away like snow as Jaehyun brings up that awkward drunken night, easing Sunhee's worries with a light joke. Looking straight into her eyes, he solemnly declares that his heart never changed, nor was he ever angry. Can we still be friends? Sunhee asks cautiously, terrified she's lost even that right. Although Jaehyun agrees, the hesitation in his eyes reveals a longing that goes far beyond mere friendship. Their farewell under the sunset is calm and restrained. Though they say, "See you tomorrow," the sound of their retreating footsteps hides lingering attachment and the unspoken feelings still hanging between them. Walking through the illuminated streets, Sunhee feels giddy about making her first friend, but realizing it's Jaehyun, she can't help but smile. This redefined friendship feels more thrilling than she imagined. Memory overlaps with reality. He has been waiting right there all along. Sunhee finally sees that Jaehyun never lost his pace to the noise around him. He kept following a path more important than college, the path that leads to her. "I can wait as long as it takes." Under the streetlight, Jaehyun's words are gentler than the warm glow. He doesn't care about college prestige, only that she stays by his side, his steadfast waiting instantly shattering all her defenses. As their shadows merge on the ground, Sunhee finally confesses her deepest fear. It wasn't failure she dreaded, but that he would leave first. Now the haze lifts, and the city welcomes a bright, clear day. Meanwhile, gossip about Jaemin is brewing on campus. Eunchae blushes furiously, trying to hide the truth from her prying friend, but her wavering eyes betray the heart-fluttering moments of the previous night. Speak of the devil, Jaemin appears with his signature, sunny smile. He playfully complains about being ignored, his gentle gaze making Yunchi's heart skip a beat instantly. Another busy day at the cafe. With Purium away, Samong steps in with cheerful energy. Amidst the mundane routine, new visitors and stories seem to be brewing. Just as everyone enjoys their iced lattes, raindrops suddenly hit the window. The unexpected shower breaks the afternoon silence, as if raising the curtain for an imminent reunion or a new encounter. Rain weaves a dense net over the memorial hall. Purium reaches out, letting the cold drops pool in her palm, a strange premonition rising within. Time freezes around the corner. Purium's eyes widen in sheer disbelief. Lee Jaemin is here, cradling a baby with a pacifier. The resemblance is uncanny. Absurd thoughts explode in her mind, leaving Purium frozen by the window, unable to distinguish reality from a dream. Meanwhile, a stir ripples through Cafe Blossom. A new part-timer breaks the afternoon calm, a familiar face to Jaehyun. The newcomer's enthusiasm is blinding. Bomi forces a polite smile, secretly praying Jaehyun stops bringing his entire social circle to the cafe. Exam season pressure hangs heavy in the air. While some laugh, others drown in study notes, their pens scratching out anxiety on paper. Jaemin isn't coming today. The casual remark lands heavy on Bomi's heart. It turns out, the distance between them is wider than she imagined. Dongchai rests his chin on his hand, eyes darkening. Jaemin shared his schedule only with him, and he knows exactly why. It's a day for the departed. Jaemin takes Samin to meet his late brother, trying to fill the unhealable void with new life. The truth comes out. Realizing Jaemin is with his sister, Bomi is shocked, but finally understands why he only opens up to certain friends. Cut to Dongchai, internally screaming. Watching Jiri misread everything again, he feels a mix of unspeakable frustration and heart-pounding agitation. Back then, he lied to make her give up. Now, remembering that decision, regret washes over him like a tidal wave. Traitor! Jiri's tearful accusation cuts like a knife. Silence spreads between them, suffocating and heavy. Enough is enough. Dongchai stands up abruptly, eyes cold. I lied. They aren't dating. Do whatever you want. He walks away, his back turned in absolute isolation. Whispers in the cafe prick at Jiri. The day she dreaded has finally arrived. Tears blur his vision as Dongchai walks into the rain. Even knowing her heart belonged to another, he fell for her like a fool from the very start. Memories flood back, the way she sparkled when talking about Jaemin. That pure adoration was the brightest sight he had ever seen. Under that umbrella, he watched her smile for another man. Jealousy burned, yet he couldn't bear to see the light in her eyes fade. If Jaemin gets a girlfriend, you have to tell me. She grabs his arm, oblivious, every word slicing through his heart. In that moment, watching her grin in the rain, Dongchai admitted defeat. Even though she loved someone else, he was hopelessly in love with her. The film of memory rewinds to a girl looking utterly aggrieved. Internally, she complains about this forced trip, feeling like a mere extra in this awkward relationship. Dongchai wanted to avoid trouble, but her helplessness reminded him of his sister. That seemingly casual request to borrow a book became the starting point of their intersecting fates. She screams Jaemin with undisguised excitement, eyes sparkling. Dongchai smiles bitterly, gently yet clearly seeing through her true motive for getting close to him. On the streets after graduation, she spontaneously drags him to a salon. This sudden initiative and closeness fills Dongchai with an indescribable joy. Staring at his unfamiliar short hair in the mirror, Dongchai waits anxiously. Her gentle gaze and soft question instantly soothe his inner tension and unease. In the cold wind, Dongchai finally drops his guard, shyly revealing his struggles. She looks at him in surprise, her eyes filled with unprecedented worry and concern. Snowflakes fall as Dongchai smiles with relief. The warmth of being understood melts the ice, making her blush as her heart seems to skip a beat. Even if he showed his most vulnerable side, amidst the bleak snow, he knows clearly that this relationship is destined to end at the boundary of just friends. Back to the present, rain patters down. Purium freezes in the mist, utterly shocked to see a completely unexpected figure before her. Seeing the baby in Jaehyun's arms, Purium wildly guesses it's a secret daughter. Jaehyun hastily clarifies it's his late-born sister, filling the air with awkward humor. Jaehyun's proximity triggers Purium's traumatic memory of the vomiting incident. She stumbles back in panic, trying to escape the suffocating awkwardness with a clumsy excuse. Lost in their own thoughts, Jaehyun suddenly turns with a request. Rain drips from his hair as Purium's eyes widen, thrust into an emergency before she can refuse. Jaehyun rushes off, leaving Purium helplessly holding the baby in the rain. In that moment of panic, a subtle flutter of her heart quietly overrides the tension. While Purium feels an inexplicable flutter, Jaehyun receives a critical warning text. A dangerous figure is at the cafe, instantly casting a shadow over the romantic rain scene. Rushing anxiously, Jaehyun suddenly runs into his old classmate, Dongchai. In a curtain of rain, their meeting is filled with surprise and astonishment. It turns out Dongchai left in the rain to save the umbrella for Jiri. Looking at the black umbrella, Jaehyun instantly understands Dongki's silent, gentle, unrequited love. Dongchai dashes into the rain with his bag over his head, a figure both cool and lonely. Just as Jaehyun muses on this complex triangle, he feels a sudden, violent impact. In the chaos, Jaehyun looks up awkwardly to see Jiri. She is anxiously looking for Dongchai, tangling these complex fates into a messy knot in the rain. The scene shifts abruptly to pouring rain. I like you too. Pierces the sky, accompanied by the girl's heart-wrenching cry as suppressed emotions burst like a flood. The backpack hits the ground, splashing water. He grabs her sleeve firmly in the heavy rain, his urgent call attempting to salvage a relationship on the brink of breaking. Rain washes over the street as he hesitates, then scolds her for soaking herself despite having an umbrella. His fingertips graze her cold cheek, freezing the air before he finally summons the courage to speak the name. About Jaemin. Tears break free as he gently wipes the rain from her face, trying to soothe her fragility. A bystander with an umbrella, suddenly realizing his intrusion, pushes the door open and leaves, leaving behind only the sound of rain and lingering awkwardness. Cold fingers interlock tightly, transmitting silent strength. She looks up, tears shimmering in her eyes but filled with resolve, vowing to fight for him, her promise of protection burning hot amidst the mist. Trembling with helplessness from past shadows, he lowers his head, wet hair unable to hide the pain in his eyes. She counters with the gentlest of smiles, accepting his fear, exchanging scars and comfort in the rain. The distance closes instantly, and an ambiguous pink aura explodes in the air. He tries to mask his nervousness with self-deprecation, while her cheeks burn, her heartbeat spiraling out of control before his clumsy yet sincere confession. All hesitation finally melts into a passionate kiss in the rain, the words, "I like you," piercing clearly through the downpour. The scene freezes, leaving her alone to savor the lingering warmth on her lips, a shy blush refusing to fade. Rewinding time, they sit uneasily under the gaze of others, the air thick with unsettled palpitations. Minutes earlier, the crisp chime of the doorbell rang out as he pushed open the door, beaming, shattering the room's silence. The girl rushes forward excitedly, ignoring the exasperated look of the staff nearby. Despite being forbidden, Jaehyun appears with a shy smile, the subtle signals flowing between them leaving bystanders completely baffled. What seemed like a sweet reunion instantly turns into a war of words. Faced with her flimsy excuse of official business, Jaehyun finally snaps, tearing down her disguise, his words sharp with defense and the bitterness of being used. Even faced with Sari's overwhelming display of cuteness, Jaehyun maintains a polite distance. He sighs in resignation, his words rejecting her, yet his eyes betray a hint of tolerance and helplessness for this frequent visitor. The playful atmosphere vanishes instantly as the topic of the ex-girlfriend strikes a nerve. Jaehyun drops his smile, his gaze turning solemn as he frankly delineates the boundary between feelings and responsibility, weighing down the air. The argument escalates. Tired of excuses, she suddenly grabs his sleeve. The unexpected physical contact causes Jaehyun's pupils to quake, and in that moment, anger is forcibly overlaid by overwhelming shyness and heart-fluttering emotion. The scene shifts to a rainy bus stop, where she stands alone under a blue umbrella. Facing the concern from within the car, she politely yet distantly declines the ride, the deliberate distance ringing clear amidst the sound of rain. The farewell through the car window feels lingering. Rain blurs the vision but cannot obscure the newly formed bond between them. The soft "see you tomorrow" acts like a warm promise, quietly melting away the previous distance. As the bus slowly pulls away, she gazes at the rain outside, a blush involuntarily spreading across her cheeks. Inner anticipation bubbles up, her previous restraint finally melting into a sweet smile she can no longer hide. The scene shifts to a quiet room. Though sharing the space, they are on completely different wavelengths. One immersed in gaming combat, the other focused on a sea of academics. This undisturbed concentration is their unique chemistry. The sun glares down on the campus path, and Purium steps after the exam are anything but light. A headache strikes alongside post-exam emptiness, leaving the super charisma freshman lost in confusion and doubt about her own state. A flash of that warm smile in the rain suddenly crosses her mind, causing her heart to skip a beat. Only now does she realize with horror that she is easily swayed by looks, the uncontrollable flutter leaving her a mix of shy and indignant. Just as her thoughts wander, a figure with headphones intrudes into her view. The moment they pass, their gazes collide in the air. She abruptly recognizes him as Bomi's boyfriend, shock and curiosity briefly freezing time. Though they recognize each other, they repel like magnets of the same pole, walking away back to back. Whispers explode around them like background noise. To onlookers, this awkward passing is misinterpreted as a suffocating ultimate face-off. Gossip fills the air until Bomi steps in, smiling sweetly as she proudly claims her boyfriend to clear the air, turning tension into romance. While Bomi internally praises him, Jin-young doubts his own ears outside. Meanwhile, Bomi paces anxiously at the door, her heart racing with anticipation. Their eyes finally meet, and all anxiety melts into Jin-young's warm smile. A simple greeting turns the atmosphere cotton candy soft. Her heart hammers against her ribs, panic mixing with excitement as she shyly squeezes out a greeting on the bench, caught in the sweet awkwardness of first love. The warm atmosphere shatters with a phone vibration. Her shy gaze freezes as she stares at a chilling text from an unknown number, dread creeping in. Meanwhile, at the cafe, Se-in-hee sits frozen, the clicking of a keyboard echoing her chaotic thoughts as her eyes betray deep confusion and struggle. While worrying about Purium's lateness, memories drift to a painful scene. Seeing him lower his guard with someone else stings with jealousy. Jaehyun approaches with coffee, and as their eyes lock, the air thickens. 1,000 unspoken words trap them in a suffocating silence. Sari barges in, shattering the tension. The label ex-girlfriend ignites Se-in-hee's fury, her sharp beauty stunning Sari into silence. Sari's shameless request leaves Se-in-hee dumbfounded. Just as chaos threatens to erupt, Jaehyun steps in gently to shield her from the absurdity. Watching this lunatic desperate to act, the walls around Se-in-hee's heart crack slightly, resignation giving way to a strange sense of clarity. No longer consumed by self-doubt, she grips the tablet firmly. Confusion fades from her eyes, replaced by a renewed sense of determination and hope. Cut to the sunny playground, where Eun-chae stubbornly holds her ground in dodgeball, meeting Jaemin's teasing banter with burning competitiveness. The game intensifies. Eun-chae hurls the ball in anger, but seeing Jaemin's pained expression turns her fury into instant regret, unknowingly falling into his trap. The aftermath of passion is painful. Lying side by side in sickbeds, they mumble in their sleep about dopamine rushes and lingering apologies. In the cafeteria, Jaemin's enthusiastic greeting is met with Yunchi's dark glare and curious stares. Clearly, she doesn't share his excitement about their partnership. Fragments of memory flash back. An arrogant smirk and intense conflict remain like a thorn between them, a reminder that the past is never far away. Back in the present, Jaemin acts casually close. Eun-chae remains cold outwardly, but internally torn between his bad reputation and his helpful actions. While joking about food portions, he casually probes into her plans, his smiling mask hiding a genuine curiosity about who she's with. His attempt to join is brutally rejected. Watching her walk away, Jaemin stands alone by the sink, his smile tinged with bitter loneliness. Amidst the cafeteria buzz, Jaemin approaches with a disarming smile, instantly triggering Yunchi's defenses. She coldly draws a line, making his playful protest, "Do I look like a bully?" ring with uncomfortable tension. The atmosphere chills instantly as Jaemin drops his playful act to reveal a buried secret: the school violence involving her brother. Yunchi's pupils tremble violently, her mask of calm shattering in an instant. Rage surges as Eun-chae, eyes rimmed with red, tears into Jaemin's hypocrisy for digging up old scars. Her cutting words, "You're a horrible person," freeze the smile on his face, rendering his defense utterly useless. Memory's floodgates open, returning to the scent of paint in the studio. The teacher's strict demand to set aside ego turns the vibrant canvases into an invisible, stifling cage. Arguments echo endlessly as adults push young Purium into an abyss, all in the name of reality and love. Is talent a gift or a curse? Caught in their gamble, she slowly loses the right to choose. A desperate question screams from within. Would everyone be happier if I were just normal? Against a colorful backdrop lies Purium's shattered self, aching for a life where her talent never existed. Reality rushes back into her lungs. Still shaken, Purium clutches her shawl, fingertips trembling. Beside her, the boy sighs in relief, the terror of the last few minutes finally fading into a fragile peace. Moments earlier, a text from a past nightmare triggered an instant visceral revulsion. Nausea surged violently. Purium clamped a hand over her mouth, the sheer terror in her eyes sending her companion into a panic. After a frantic escape from class, they collapse onto a bench. Though disguised as a stomach ache, this stolen moment of truancy allows Purium's frayed nerves to unwind, her companion's cover story offering the only comfort. That wasn't a stomach ache, it was hyperventilation, right? He pierces through her lie. Purium evades his probing gaze, clutching the paper bag tight, trying to bury her unspeakable secrets once more. The conversation takes a sharp turn as Purium points accusingly at a couple, shouting the absurd truth. All this chaos stemmed from her thinking he was dating Bomi. His expression shifts instantly from concern to sheer bewilderment. The rumor spreaders sit on pins and needles in the classroom, realizing they've messed up big time. Meanwhile, Jaemin smiles knowingly from the shadows. This farce born of misunderstanding is starting to get interesting. Elsewhere, Jaemin tries to breach Yunqi's wall of indifference, finally succeeding with the bait. A freshman is looking for you. Eunchai spins around instantly, her sudden attention betraying a hidden anticipation deep within. Eunchai looks toward the door, lost in thought. Is this a link to her past? Jaemin looks on, puzzled. This tangled web of relationships just gained another unsolved mystery. Back on the campus streets, a sudden chase erupts. Jin Young and the rumor-spreading girl sprint in plain sight, while Purium points them out, her face a mix of shock and adrenaline. Why are you running? Because you're chasing. This absurd exchange explodes mid-sprint. Jin Young's exasperated roar clashes with the nonsensical reply, filling the chase with comedic tension. Amidst the chaos, a shout goes up. Catch them. An innocent bystander is forcibly dragged in. Terrified, he stumbles forward, unwillingly becoming the makeshift captor in this unfolding farce. With a series of crashes, the fleeing trio is finally intercepted. Bomi is caught in the middle, looking panic-stricken, surrounded by the captor's triumphant laughter and the captive's disheveled protests. Total chaos. Dust settles, and misunderstandings clear. Bomi explains with an apologetic smile, while the students, previously at each other's throats, bow their heads in remorse. The air fills with an awkward but warm sense of reconciliation. Just as everyone shakes hands and makes up, Purium arrives, panting and late. Seeing their relaxed faces, she lets out a bewildered eh. Realizing she missed the whole drama, only catching the curtain call. Purium stands frozen, the clothes still warm in her hands, but they are already gone. Her lips part in confusion. The good intention to return the lost item dissolves into awkward silence. The scene shifts to Jaemin clutching his waist, grimacing from a clumsy stumble. At the same moment, Bomi's cheerful greeting rings out from down the hall, a stark contrast to his misery. Jaemin can't help but tease Bomi about her strange behavior, recalling how she ran away earlier. Bomi tries to mask it with a smile, but her deflection only adds a layer of ambiguous frustration to the air. Hiding in the corner, their eyes lock onto Eunchai in the distance. The unfamiliar silhouette sparks suspicion in Jaemin, while Bomi rests her chin in thought, the air thick with a mix of gossip and concern. Suddenly, Bomi shouts Jaemin Appa, as if struck by lightning. The cringy honorific freezes Jaemin instantly, his face twisted in disgust and embarrassment, as if he just heard a horror story. As the conversation deepens, the pieces fall into place. It turns out Jae-yun has a friend named Lee Jaemin too. This coincidence brings a realization to Jaemin, along with a sudden pang of inexplicable irritation and jealousy. In the library, the bickering over Appa continues, filled with playful rivalry. Suddenly, their attention is drawn to a distant scene, where Eunchai watches with surprise, sensing a shift in the atmosphere. Even in the quiet classroom, Jaemin's mind races. The name Lee Jaemin sticks like a thorn, bothering him inexplicably, his inner irritation amplifying with every turn of the page. Hearing that guy show no remorse for the past, Jaemin bolts up, shock and anger surging in his chest. He can't believe anyone could treat such past trauma so lightly. Cutting back to the present, Yunqi's hand trembles slightly as she reaches out. Blushing but resolute, she finally voices her heart. I thought you were amazing. That's why I wanted to get close to you. Faced with this sudden confession, Jaemin looks utterly blank. Before the touching sentiment can settle, his ill-timed question, who is Lee Jaemin, instantly pops the romantic bubble. Misunderstandings fade and emotions elevate. A light flickers in Jaemin's eyes, the relief of being understood, while Yunqi's tender gaze silently declares him as her savior. The camera pulls back, freezing on the group. Under the sunlight, the blonde boy's gaze rests gently on the girl adjusting her clothes. That unconcealable flutter of the heart is the prelude called first love. Cutting to another afternoon, two freshmen wander in confusion, searching for their destination. Beside a brick building, a pink door frame catches their eye, like a rabbit hole waiting to open up a news story. Pushing open the door, they are greeted by Jaemin's warm smile. Though it's just a small mix-up of wrong buildings, his invitation to stop by next time leaves a lingering warmth of anticipation in the air. The cafe hums with daily busyness. Jaemin takes on the serving duties, and though he apologizes, an unspoken understanding flows between him and Purium the moment the tray changes hands. Yet, silence brings a suffocating awkwardness rushing back. Within the narrow counter, their heartbeats seem audibly loud, the air growing thick with the tension of being hyper-aware of each other. Jaemin desperately tells himself to get a grip, but his eyes wander uncontrollably. Purium is equally flustered, unable to focus. This subtle magnetic field is so strong that even onlookers sense something is off. A sudden turn shrinks the distance instantly. Jaemin instinctively reaches out to steady her. The warmth from his fingertips sends a shiver through Purium, followed by an uncontrollable hiccup that brings the romantic tension to its peak. This unusual commotion doesn't escape Bomi's eyes. She sharply catches the pink current flowing in the air, suddenly realizing this isn't just busyness, but the signal of a budding romance. Anxious about the changes, Bomi values their bond over profit. Jinyoung talks business, but his heart reveals the truth. He prefers the clumsy, yet loyal son he over anyone else. Jiri confesses her fear that success might cost them their hideout. Caught caring too much, she flushes and denies it vehemently, while poor Sun He becomes the unsuspecting scapegoat for their overwhelming emotions. Crushed under heavy boxes, Bomi suppresses a scream. To keep from exploding, she channels Sun He's manic positivity, plastering on a fake smile to mask the torrent of curses in her head. Jinyoung seeks refuge in smoke, but nicotine can't quell his longing. His solitude is shattered as a mysterious girl approaches, a malicious smile playing on her lips as she mentions the one name he protects. The trap snaps shut. She dangles the photo like a weapon, threatening to expose his secret to Sun He. Jinyoung freezes, eyes widening as he realizes he's been cornered by calculated malice. The lighter's flame flickers, mirroring the cold fury in Jinyoung's eyes. He counters with a dark warning to protect Sun He, but the threat only seems to excite the girl, twisting the tension into something dangerous. The classroom buzzes with gossip as a legendary name drops. The handsome senior used to go here? Curiosity ignites in the girl's eyes, painting the mundane school day with strokes of admiration and wonder. Jaemin flashes his perfect smile, only to slip away just as things get warm. As the door closes, the room's energy deflates, leaving behind a lingering, inexplicable sense of distance. Whispers fill the air as they piece together his puzzle. The contrast between his delinquent past and his gentle present doesn't scare them off. Instead, it only deepens the mystery, inviting them closer. Fear dissolves with every interaction. Jaemin laughs off their tentative jokes, his easygoing nature making the rumors of his violent past seem like a ridiculous myth. Eunchai watches him from afar, the weight of his jokes finally sinking in. Leaning against the railing, Jaemin stares into nothingness, revealing not coolness, but a bone-deep, aching loneliness. Enter Kim Chul-soo, armed with naive optimism and a desperate plan. Determined to shed his past and find romance, the boy steps into high school, unaware that his makeover is about to hit a hurdle. Just as Chul-soo feels confident, fate trips him up. Panic sets in as he realizes he's crossed the terrifying blue-haired senior, crushing a limited edition treasure and his own courage underfoot. In truth, Jaemin is just as rattled. Facing the trembling junior, he nervously crunches his lollipop, wondering why the boy is looking at him like he's a monster instead of a classmate. Jaemin forces a friendly smile, but to everyone else, it looks like intimidation. He only wanted to meet the junior Eunchai mentioned, never expecting his curiosity to be interpreted as a terrifying interrogation. Jaemin offers a candy as a peace offering, but Chul-soo sees a threat. Terrified, he screams an apology and bolts, leaving a bewildered Jaemin holding the sweet treat, utterly confused by the rejection. Watching Chul-soo flee, Jaemin feels a strange pang of rejection, like a breakup. Tears prick his eyes as his small hope of finding a kindred spirit dissolves into a bitter taste of disappointment. To Jaemin, Chul-soo isn't just a junior. He's a savior from the past. Through the lens of memory, the boy who nervously but gently turned down a girl was the hero Jaemin had always admired. Rewind to childhood. A tiny Jaemin sits glued to the TV, eyes reflecting the glow of superheroes. This was the origin of his faith, believing that love and justice could conquer any fear. But reality isn't a comic book. When bullies cornered them, there was no superhero to save the day. Trembling yet fierce, young Jaemin gritted his teeth, forcing himself to be the shield his brother needed. Sharp arguments pierced the silence of memory, violence looming over childhood. Just as despair hits, a figure rushes in, shielding him from all the fear. In that moment, the gray world lights up. His pupils tremble at the sight. That clumsy strike of justice becomes an eternal, heroic first love moment in his heart. Time dilutes the thrill, and etched memories are locked away deep within. Until this afternoon, when a familiar sense of déjà vu plays out in the alleyway, awakening the past. The gears of fate turn silently. The moment they meet again, his dormant heart begins to race uncontrollably. Forgotten flutters reawaken amidst the noisy singing. Whether in the noisy day or silent night, that intense tremor follows him. He wakes with a start, cheeks burning, unable to calm this sudden flood of emotions. Thoughts in a tangle. He tries to hide his panic in daily interactions, but fails clumsily. Every eye contact leaves him flustered, not knowing where to place his restless heart. Meanwhile, rumors of romance ferment in the air. Cleaning up in the silence of closing time, her gaze drifts involuntarily to the corner, where someone lingers on her mind. He lies quietly on the table, stripped of his usual disguise. Seeing his exhausted, sleeping face, her hand hesitates in midair, her heart tipping towards tenderness. Reason collapses in this moment. Fingertips graze his soft hair, her heartbeat roaring in her ears, craving this fleeting intimacy, yet blushing at the forbidden touch. The sensation is addictive as she cautiously tests the boundaries. Just one more second, she whispers internally, fingertips gently tapping his hand, enjoying the calm before the storm. Suddenly, the sleeping fingers tighten violently, like a trap snapping shut. She tries to pull away in panic, but is locked in by an irresistible force, her breath hitching instantly. The dreamlike murmur carries a chilling obsession, not a request, but a command. Got you, won't let you escape this time. Dark possessiveness is laid bare in this moment. Elsewhere, a clumsy accident breaks the calm. The boy falls awkwardly, only to look up into concerned eyes. Perhaps this sudden tenderness is also the start of a heartbeat?